Hi, I'm Miss Price and I'm the lead on A-Level English Language at Wirral Girls. This video is just going to give you a brief introduction into what we study over the 2 years and what you would be letting yourself in for if you pick this as an A-Level. If you've got any questions after watching this video, please do feel free to email me on lp@wirralgirls.co.uk and I'll happily answer any questions that you've got.
Have you ever wondered why English spelling seems really odd? Why we find it tricky to read older text, sometimes feels like we're reading a foreign language? Why we like some accents but not others? We've all got that accent that we're like, oh, I love that accent. What is it about that accent that we like? Why women apparently gossip, but men seemingly don't? And how babies learn to speak and master the language. If these have ever been things that have crossed your mind, or you're looking at the screen now thinking, actually, yeah, I do wonder about that. That sounds really interesting. Then English language is definitely the subject for you. So what will I learn? So these are the things that we cover over the 2 years of the English Language A-Level course. You look at language under the microscope. So that is how the genre, audience and purpose of a text will alter and affect the language choices made. So what type of text it is, who that text is aimed at, and why that text has been written. The writer will choose certain language or make certain language choices to really appeal to that particular audience, or to really make sure their purpose and the reason for writing the text comes across. We look at topical issues, so we take current debates surrounding the English language and you will produce your own pieces of writing about this as well. So it's things like looking at slang. Should slang be banned in school? Is technology really ruining the English language? Those sorts of ideas. We look as well more recently. We have the head of the FA who resigned because of some language choices that he'd made. So we look at things like that. We look also at sort of representations of people in the media and how they're represented through language choices. So again, quite recently, the new Vice President-elect being the first female Vice President-elect, and certain newspapers were running with discussions about hair, makeup, lipstick, what she was wearing, that sort of thing. So we look at all of those language ideas and language debates in the news, and you write your own pieces in a very similar style. We look at mode, so the differences in language choices between a spoken text and a written text, and how the mode, the channel with which we receive that text, has impacted the language choices. We also look at language acquisition. We've all gone through that process, and here we look at how we did that. How did we master the English language? We look at media text, so texts from newspapers, magazines, online, and we apply gender theories and gender ideas, as well as power ideas and technology. So how, if you're a person in a position of power, so whether that be a teacher, a politician, a judge, a lawyer, how you use your language to get people to do what you want, or to show that you're in that position of power. With technology, how the impact of the internet and social media, how that has affected the English language and changed the English language. With gender, is there a difference between the different genders and the different language choices that they make? And then finally, we look at language change, so how the English language has changed since the 1700s and what has caused our language to change. So how is it taught? So you have 5 lessons of English language a week. One teacher you will see for 3 lessons and a second teacher you will see for 2 lessons. Year 12 will start with the linguistics course. That's a real nitty-gritty of the language, so what we call the language levels, and that's what all of your future analysis is based upon. Then you look at gender, power and technology in year 12, and in year 13 you study acquisition and change. Coursework is done in year 13 and it's worth 20% of the overall mark, and that is a language investigation of your choosing. And when I say that, I do mean it. Anything you are interested in becomes your language investigation. We've had ones on Peaky Blinders, Derry Girls, RuPaul's Drag Race, looking at Gordon Ramsay, looking at the Queen, looking at sports commentators and the language they use when they were commentating on a female gymnast and a male gymnast. We've also had ones about different politicians and the language that they use and if there's a difference between them. We had one that looked at Margaret Thatcher and Theresa May, with both being female leaders of the Conservative Party. So anything that you're interested in, you can turn into a language investigation. Exams. There are exams at the end of the 2 years. There's 2.5 hour exams, and you can see on the screen how they're split with the different topics that we look at across the 2 years. And then you have one piece of coursework, as I said, in year 13. So why take English language? Firstly, because it's so interesting, it's absolutely fascinating, and you are studying something that is constantly changing, constantly evolving. You will all be using language that I've got no idea what it means. Your families will have no idea what it means because you're at the forefront of this language change. And it's so interesting to study something that surrounds you every single day. You might see something on social media. Quite often I'll see things on Twitter, and you'll go into lesson and you'll talk about it in lesson. We're talking today about the Collins Dictionary of the Word for 2020 and how unsurprisingly it's lockdown, and all the other words that were sort of on the short list for that as well. So things that you see around you every day, you can come into lesson and you can discuss. The ability to communicate and communicate effectively cannot be underestimated. This is something that whatever future career you go into is massively important, to be able to communicate effectively and to get your message across to a range of different people. It also crosses over with many other subjects. We have students quite often who are doing psychology, sociology, history, RS, English Lit, even some of the sciences as well. It crosses over really well, and the skills that you develop in English language can be useful in all of those subjects as well. That links on really nicely to the fact that there's lots of transferable and soft skills in English language. These are things that aren't explicitly taught in school, but things that employers really look out for. So it's that ability to communicate, the ability to think critically, the ability to debate, to discuss, to problem solve, to work as part of a team. And they're all things and skills that are developed as part of the English language course. But it isn't a facilitating subject. It isn't, but don't let that stop you. We've had students study English and go on to study at Oxbridge, Manchester, Liverpool and Durham. If I do English language, does that mean I can only become an English teacher? Not at all. Obviously, some do go on to do English degrees, and we have had some that have gone into teaching, but we've also had that wide range of jobs and careers that you can see on the screen. So it does not limit you. In fact, with it having such a wide skills range, it's a really good foundation for a wide variety of different career options. So if you're unsure about what you want to do in the future, English language is a really good subject to take, because you've got a good solid sort of foundation of an A-level subject that you can then springboard off into all sorts of different careers. So that's enough from me, and I'm going to hand over to some of our students, and they're going to give you a student's perspective of studying English language at A-level.
A-level English language is so different than GCSE. You don't just learn how to analyse texts, you look at how children learn how to speak, sexist language, and a full hour on taboo.
In terms of content, the course isn't that heavy, and we're usually done with learning everything by Christmas. There are also some short answer tests as well, so we focus on terminology, not just analysis.
In year 13 we get a chance to start our coursework, where you get to pick pretty much any topic you want, so you can expand on something you've already learned in class, or you can diverge and go for something completely different.
So choose English language!